The stakes have never been this high. Let's recap everything from Golden Kamuy Season 4. The story continues with Sugimoto's group returning to Japan and stopping in Shizuoka, where a distant sniper shoots Shiraishi. Sugimoto pursues and identifies the shooter as Vasily, a Russian marksman who also seeks Ogata. Vasily begins tailing the group to track their shared target. At the same time at Lake Akan, Hijikata and Ushiyama disappear. Katakura and Kirawuse discover that poison expert Sekiya has paralyzed Hijikata and buried Ushiyama. Ushiyama breaks out of his shallow grave despite being drugged, and he soon encounters a young Ainu boy. Meanwhile, Katakura and Kirawuse receive a list from Sekiya, who demands the tattooed skins. Ushiyama and the boy scare off the bullies who are bothering him, but the boy becomes frightened of Ushiyama as well and drops some food into the water. Ushiyama immediately dives in after it. At the same time, Katakura and Kirawuse attempt to capture Sekiya, but Sekiya sees through their plan and tries to escape. They anticipate this, and Kirawuse waits for him at the far end of the frozen lake until Ushiyama suddenly bursts out of the water beneath the ice, forcing Sekiya to flee in the opposite direction and escape. They split up, and Katakura tracks Sekiya to an abandoned site where Sekiya forces him into a deadly gamble involving poisoned silkworm cocoons. Katakura is poisoned, but at that moment Hijikata bursts from its coffin and kills Sekiya. Katakura miraculously survives after accidentally ingesting toxins that neutralize each other. The group then regroups and continues the hunt for the tattooed skins. In Noburabetsu Hell Valley, the 7th Division recuperates in the natural hot springs. Rikimatsu Oriko reports spotting a suspicious figure in the mountains wearing patterned clothing. As night falls, the figure is revealed to be Anji Toni. A confrontation begins, and Toni attempts to shoot Kakuta, who, prepared with an eye patch to see in the dark, engages him. A tense chase leads Toni into an abandoned icy mine. Gunfire erupts in the narrow cave. Usami is wounded, and Toni uses his echolocation device to almost gain the upper hand. Ariko sets a trap, luring Toni to a snow-covered slope and triggering an avalanche with a well-timed shot. Afterwards, Toni's body is missing, but Ariko presents a piece of skin with his tattoos as proof of his presumed death. The focus shifts to Otonoshin Koito's past. At 14, Koito, the spoiled son of a Navy officer, rides a tricycle recklessly and accidentally knocks down Tokushiro Tsurumi. Tsurumi chases and scolds him, then escorts him to a cemetery to visit his deceased older brother's grave, leaving a lasting impression on Koito. At 16, Koito lives in Hakodate, where his father oversees a strategic naval torpedo project. He is abducted by Russian agents demanding his father dismantle the fleet. Tsurumi is called in to help. Koito fights back during the kidnapping, buying time. Tsurumi and Koito's father trace the kidnappers to Goryokaku. Amid the chaos, Koito's father is knocked out and Koito is restrained again. Tsurumi storms in, kills the abductors, and rescues them both. Impressed, Koito decides to join military officer school, unknowingly following the path Tsurumi set for him. In the present, Tsurumi discovers that Ariko lied about Toni's skin. He spares him but forces him to work as a double agent using fake tattoos made by Edogai. Hijikata had anticipated this, turning him into a triple agent. In Toyohara, while scouting, Sugimoto and Asirpa save filmmakers Inaba and Jirel from Wolverines. Asirpa convinces Inaba to film Ainu stories, a comedic tale with Sugimoto, Shiraishi, and Tanigaki, and a serious story showing Chikapasi and Tanigaki's father-son bond. At the cinema, an old reel of Asirpa's parents and baby Asirpa is shown but destroyed in a nitrate fire. Asirpa resolves to defend her culture and Sugimoto to protect her, setting their paths forward. Sugimoto's party prepares to leave the Nivh village. Chikapasi remains behind, and Tanigaki gives him Nihei's rifle. Later, Koito, realizing Tsurumi's manipulation, decides to stay loyal. Shiraishi overhears everything. Before meeting Tsurumi, Sugimoto and Shiraishi clash, when Sugimoto tries to hand Asirpa over for her safety, while Shiraishi insists her choices must be her own. In Karafuto, Sugimoto and Asirpa meet the 7th Division led by Tsurumi. On the surface, they seem allied, but Asirpa senses something wrong. Tsurumi's real plan is to isolate Asirpa and take the Ainu gold for himself. Realizing the danger, Asirpa fires arrows into the air and runs. Sugimoto immediately follows, drawing his weapon. Their fragile alliance with the 7th Division shatters. Tsurumi and his men chase them, firing guns. Sugimoto is wounded but fights fiercely, cutting down several guards. On the way to the ferry, they encounter Shiraishi and Tanigaki. Shiraishi goes with them, but they say Tanigaki shouldn't come. He needs to reunite with Inkermat. Tsurumi pressures Tanigaki, saying he must return Asirpa and kill Sugimoto if he wants to reunite with a pregnant Inkermat. Vasily helps Asirpa, Sugimoto, and Shiraishi reach a ferry. As the ferry departs, Tsurumi's destroyer pursues. The group escapes onto ice floes, hiding under white coverings. Every step is dangerous, with cracking ice and freezing water threatening them. Their pursuers give up, leaving them free. For now, the escape comes at a cost. Some allies are left behind, and the group is fractured. After escaping Karafuto, they reach Hokkaido, and Sugimoto and Asirpa's bond grows stronger. Exhausted and wounded, they vow to find the gold on their own terms and protect what matters. Low on money and unarmed, they hear about gold at the Uryu River and decide to try their luck. At the river, they meet Heita Matsuda, a self-proclaimed gold expert. Heita claims he is searching for gold and white dust, platinum, and tells stories of a bear spirit, or Golden Kamuy, that haunts the area. As he spends time with the group, his stories grow erratic. Heita becomes paranoid, twitchy, and haunted by visions. His obsession deepens. He insists the bear spirit is real, stalking him, and that the gold is cursed. The truth emerges. Heita is actually one of the tattooed escapees consumed by delusions. He attacks, wearing a bearskin and fighting with brutal force. Sugimoto must defend Asirpa and Shiraishi as Heita's madness drives him to kill. In the chaos, Heita triggers a trap meant for beasts and slowly dies. After failing to pan gold, using papers left by Heita, they learn that the escaped convict and pirate Botaro may be in the area, giving them a new target. Meanwhile, Ogata reports to Hijikata about events after Abashiri prison and notes that Asirpa may hold the key to the code. At the same time, Sapporo faces gruesome murders of prostitutes, likely committed by convicts with tattooed maps. The 7th Division and Hijikata's team begin acting, raising the stakes for everyone. In a short flashback, we see Tokushige and Tsurumi's first meeting at a dojo. Tokushige and his friend admired Tsurumi. Years later, Tokushige's friend leaves the village, and one last time he begs to train with Tokushige. Tokushige defeats and kills him out of jealousy, wanting to get closer to Tsurumi. They create a fake story, and Tokushige remains innocent in the eyes of others. The focus shifts to Tanigaki. He abandons his mission to kill Sugimoto and capture Asirpa. He rescues Inkermat from a 7th Division facility with help from Kano, though he is wounded by Tsukishima. They try to escape, but Tsukishima pursues them. They barely reach the Ainu village, where Inkermat gives birth. Koito convinces Tsukishima to let them go, prioritizing compassion over orders. Tanigaki transforms into a father and protector, finding hope amidst chaos. Meanwhile, Sugimoto, Asirpa, and Shiraishi decide to track Botaro, shifting from rumors to a focused hunt for tattooed escapees. During their search, they meet a peddler and ask if he has tattoos. He suddenly shows the tattoos on his face, shocking them. Before disappearing, he tells them they will never find the gold. They continue their journey by steamboat towards Sapporo. Botaro ambushes the ship, throwing everything into chaos. Shiraishi recognizes him immediately. Botaro claims the tattooed skins might be worthless. A postman causes trouble in the passenger room, and Botaro starts swinging an anchor. Sugimoto gets angry because Asirpa could be hurt, so he charges at Botaro. Botaro then talks about forming a truce and even says he wants to build his own kingdom. We briefly see a flashback showing Sugimoto's father dying of tuberculosis. Botaro realizes they are hunting him too. One of his men points a gun at them, but Asirpa saves the group with a quick arrow shot. Their argument escalates into a fight, and both Sugimoto and Botaro fall into the river. Underwater, Botaro uses his strong swimming and fighting skills to try to drown Sugimoto, but Sugimoto's willpower wins out. He overpowers Botaro and drags him to the surface. Sugimoto then proposes a real truce. Instead of fighting, they should work together and share information to stay ahead of the other dangerous groups chasing the gold. With Vasili's help, they reach the shore. Meanwhile, in Sapporo, Usami and Kikuta track a serial killer targeting women. Usami becomes obsessed with the case. They encounter the killer and fight intensely, but he escapes. During the night, the killer strikes again. Kikuta reveals to Ariko he works for the Central Authority and has orders to kill Tsurumi if he finds the gold. Ariko begins working with Kikuta too. Meanwhile, Hijikata's group discovers the killer is acting like Jack the Reaper. They assume he will kill one more time before disappearing, and must catch him within 40 days. At the same time, Sugimoto learns that the man they encountered is a child murderer, the escaped prisoner Ueji Keiji. Everyone begins gathering in Sapporo. The next day, when Kikuta mentions Ogata, Usami explodes, remembering how Ogata killed his own brother out of jealousy and desire for their father's approval. His father still ignored him. Usami also recalls being insulted by Ogata that day, which fueled his rage even more. The season ends with Sugimoto and Asirpa walking through a forest near Sapporo. Asirpa reflects on life after the gold hunt, but a logging accident pins them under falling trees. Asirpa asks Sugimoto what he would do if they find the gold. He explains that there was a girl he was supposed to marry, but after his family died of tuberculosis, he had no choice and left everything behind. His friend married her, but she became ill and the treatment was expensive. He promised his friend during the war to pay for her treatment, and Sugimoto also tells her he will stay with her as long as she wants. They also talk about Shiraishi. Sugimoto says Shiraishi kept his promise, and they should tell him he knows the code for the key. Suddenly, the emotional Shiraishi shows up, and they are rescued. They witness the consequences of the forest being cut down. The experience makes Asirpa realize what she truly needs to do. If you want more recaps like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and let me know what anime you want to see next.